Okay, in the last class we have seen about addition and subtraction of vectors, correct? Fine. So as you know, we need to remember this head to tail method, right? So head to tail method, and based on that I told you we have triangle law, correct? So there also we'll make sure that head of one vector will be connected to the tail of the next vector, like that, right? So triangle method of addition. Now one more was polygon law, triangle law of vector addition will say, polygon law of vector addition will say. And in the beginning I had told you there is one more way where you can find out the or you can say you can add two vectors, right? So that is your parallelogram method. Okay, so in this method we won't be using head to tail. Okay, so and we also said triangle law and parallelogram law, so they are almost equivalent. Okay, so they are not almost, we'll call them as equivalent methods. Now we'll understand how, why. Okay, right. Now again let us take two vectors. So say we have vector A and vector B, right? So you know the resultant will be given by this head to tail method, right? So this is our triangle law. So you can say vector R is equal to A plus B, right? So this is how we used to write. Okay, now what we can do here is, let us say we will make a copy of B, otherwise I will neatly shift this B, okay, so that vector A and vector B, okay, vector A and vector B will look like co-initial vectors. Okay, vector A and vector B will look like co-initial vectors. Okay, then if you look for a mathematical figure, okay, if you look for a mathematical figure, so and if you try to complete the mathematical figure, right, geometrical figure, right, so what you will see is that if you complete this, okay, if you consider the vectors, the two vectors here are A and B. Now just now as you saw, I made them co-initial vectors. See, earlier it was like this, correct, head to tail method. Now I am taking the vector B. You can imagine you are shifting, okay, you are shifting this vector B so that vector A and B looks like co-initial vectors. Okay, then we will complete the figure. Okay, so taking the vector A and B as the adjacent sides of a parallelogram, listen to this, taking vector A and B as the adjacent sides of the parallelogram. Okay, now you have to complete the figure. Okay, now if you can see the properties, I think you know the properties of parallelogram. So what is that? Opposite sides. Okay, opposite sides are equal and parallel, right? So this one technically it represents, okay, it represents vector B only. Okay, it doesn't represent vector B, but it has the magnitude, its length is same as that of length of vector B, right? And the top one, its length is same as that of vector A. Okay, right? Okay, so this is about parallelogram law, that's all. Okay, so what we are doing basically here is we are keeping the vectors so that the tails of the vectors are meeting. Okay, it's not head to tail anymore, so it's like the tails of the vectors are meeting, right? So it's here as you can see, right? Now the parallelogram law goes like this: if two vectors represent, okay, if two vectors represent the adjacent sides, so please write it down. If two vectors represent the adjacent sides of a parallelogram, okay, adjacent sides of a parallelogram, okay, then the resultant will be given by, okay, you can say then the resultant will be given by, now what do we call that green line? If you consider the if you talk in terms of parallelogram, so it is called as the diagonal. Okay, so the resultant will be given by the diagonal. Okay, and what you need to make sure is that the tail, right? So the tail of vector A and vector B and vector R resultant, so all of them are meeting at the same point. Okay, it feels like vector A, vector B, and vector R are co-initial vectors. So this is basically parallelogram law. Okay, now why did we say it is equivalent? Man, see, as I told you, let us come back to triangle law. See, A was like this and B was like this. So what did we get? The resultant was actually given like this, correct? Now, as I told you yesterday while doing commutative law, correct, R is equal to A plus B. Now what happens if you do B plus A? If you do B plus A also, you will get the same thing. It feels like you are making a copy of B. See, I'm just making copy paste and keep it here. Okay, now make a copy of A and keep it here. Okay, make a copy of A and keep it here. So what did you get? See, easily they are joining, right? Okay, so you must treat it like if you cut it into two parts, if you cut it along the diagonal. Okay, so if you cut it along the diagonal, so what are you seeing here? So one part, right? So one part, it feels like triangle, right? So that is why we say these two are actually equivalent, correct? These two are actually equivalent. Fine. Now what I did earlier was, as you saw, I simply shifted the vector B, which was here, to left side, so that A and B will look like co-initial vectors. Okay, then the resultant will be given by the parallelogram. Okay, fine. So that is all. Fine. So that is why we say triangle law and parallelogram law are equivalent to each other. Okay, now let us try to find out the magnitude. Okay, let us try to find out the magnitude of the resultant. Given the magnitude, you can say magnitude and direction. Okay, R is a vector, right? So writing in terms of vector addition, how do we write? Vector R is equal to vector A plus vector B, right? Or you can say resultant of A and B is your vector R, correct? Fine. Now, you know, vector, always we need to specify magnitude and direction, right? Now say vector A, it has its own magnitude and direction. Vector B, it has its own magnitude and direction. Then this resultant R will also it will also have its own magnitude and direction, correct? Now let us see what is the simple method, what is the method to find out. Okay, so it is actually easy. You just have to focus on your geometry, geometrics, whatever you have studied, analytical geometry, fine, right, and a little bit of trigonometry also, fine. Now again, come back here. Now say, let me write a neat diagram. Say we have two vectors, A and B. Okay, first I'm writing vector A. So this is, this is vector A. Then I'm taking vector B this way. Let this be the vector B. Okay, right. Now parallelogram law, right? So we have to keep them as co-initial vectors. Okay, so this is my vector B, right? Fine. Now let us complete the parallelogram. Okay, we have two vectors as the adjacent sides of the parallelogram. Okay, now we will complete the parallelogram. Okay, so if you have two adjacent sides, you can complete the parallelogram, right? So let me take white line, so it will be easy for you to see. Right, now the angle was 55 degrees. Okay, so let me take the same here. Right, so here I'm going to draw one more white line. So I suggest you to use your scale and pencil to draw the diagram. Okay, fine. Now, right, finally, what did we say? The resultant will be given by the diagonal, correct? So the resultant will be given by the diagonal. Right, okay, so let us say this is the diagonal. Okay, right. Now, so this is vector A. Now this one is vector B, and this is vector R. Okay, so it is simply like vector R is the resultant of A and B. Okay, fine. Now let us try to find out how to get this R. Okay, now when you are trying to find the resultant, okay, so when you're trying to find the resultant, we need to know what is the angle between vector A and B. Okay, so let us call it as theta. All right, the angle between vector A and B, we'll call it as theta. Fine. Now theta is the angle between vector A and B. Okay, now this is important. So now in questions they may give like the angle between the two vectors. Okay, the angle between the two vectors is 30 degrees. Okay, then however maybe the vectors arranged. Okay, so you have to say that the angle between the vectors is 30 degrees only if you shift and make them meet as co-initial vectors. Okay, for example, sometimes you will get like this: vector A is this way. Okay, some random example, vector B is like this. Then this cannot be treated as the angle between the vectors. This is wrong. Okay, we cannot write this as the angle between the vectors. Okay, what you need to do is, we have to shift the vectors. Okay, we have to shift the vectors so that they will see like this. This we cannot call it as the angle. Okay, we have to shift the vectors so that they are meeting. Okay, so that they are meeting co-initially. Okay, so you are shifting the vectors so that they'll meet co-initially. Okay, so like this you have to shift the vector, then the angle between the vectors will be theta. Okay, so this you can call it as theta. Now just now if you have seen properly, so you can write it as, these two angles are actually same. Okay, but to avoid mistakes, always consider the angle between the vectors. See, sometimes angle between the vectors, when I say, you must always consider co-initial vectors. Okay, see that the vectors are starting from a common point. It should feel like the arrows, right? If you consider the arrows, they must be coming out from a common point. Then this angle you can call it as angle between the vectors. This is what we will consider. All right, now okay, fine, that is all. Right, now let us come back to this. Let us try to find the resultant. Okay, resultant vector. Right, now as I told you, vector A and vector B, they have their own magnitude and direction. Okay, they have their own magnitude and direction. Now what the resultant vector what we get, right? The resultant vector what we get, again it is a vector. It has its own magnitude and direction. Now as I told you, specifying the magnitude, okay, it is left to you, right? So you can choose whatever length you want. Okay, right, so here my vector A, it is of some length, vector B is of some length. Now depending on these lengths what I have chosen already, right? Now the length of the vector R, that is the magnitude of the vector R, is decided. And also if you can see, if the angle varies, correct, if the angle varies, then the resultant will also vary. We'll see how. Okay, we'll see how. Fine. Now to specify the magnitude of resultant, we have its length. Okay, that is the length of the diagonal, correct. Now to specify or to give information on its direction, right? So now we need some reference, right? As I told you, the direction can be given by taking some reference. It can be like east, north, using north, south, east, west directions. Otherwise we can use angles also, right? Now for that, what we'll do is, let us consider the, for time being, okay, now for time being, let us say the angle what the resultant makes with respect to vector A. Okay, so call it as some alpha. Okay, let us call it as alpha. Now the angle what the resultant makes with respect to vector B, right? So let us call it as beta. Now you can use any one of this. Okay, now we need magnitude and direction if it is a vector. Now resultant is also a vector, right? Now its magnitude will be given by the length. Now we will try to find out the length. Okay, right, now its direction will be given by, you can say it is at an angle alpha from vector A. That is one way of specifying. See, it is at an angle alpha from vector A, right? Or it is at an angle beta from vector B, taking B as the reference. Okay, so these are the two ways in which you can express the direction of R. Okay, fine. Now let us go to the mathematics once again. Yeah, let us go to the mathematics behind the determination of magnitude and direction of the resultant. Okay, now here we are assuming we know the direction of vector A and we know the direction of vector B. Okay, and we know the angle between vector A and B, which is given by that theta, blue color theta. Okay, fine. Now let us try to find out magnitude of the resultant R. Okay, now as you know, magnitude of R, right? If you want the magnitude, means first let us try to find out the length. Okay, so magnitude of resultant we'll try to find out. Next we will go for the direction. Direction means if you can determine alpha and beta, you are getting the direction. That's all. All right, fine. Now what we will do here is we will try to complete the triangle. Okay, we will try to complete we'll try to drop some perpendiculars. Okay, we'll try to drop some perpendiculars and we'll try to make use of the knowledge what we already know. All right, fine. Here what we are going to do is let us drop a perpendicular from this point, that is the tip. Okay, that is the tip of your resultant. Okay, now let us drop a perpendicular. Okay, I have dropped the perpendicular. Again, let us extend this. Let us extend the line. Okay, let us extend the vector A now. You will understand why we are doing this. Okay, let us extend this vector A now. So here also I am drawing a dotted line. Okay, fine. So the basic idea is to find out the magnitude. Okay, now what do you know about magnitude? Magnitude will be represented by the length, is it not? So it's easy. Now as you know, this line whatever I have drawn here, it is actually telling you that it is its magnitude, right? It is same as B. Okay, so it is same as B. So this is same as A, right? So it will give you the magnitude of A, correct? Now let us just understand considering the length. Okay, length represents the magnitude of B. Okay, this represents magnitude of B, this white line. Now the top white line, it is representing magnitude of A. Okay, let us call that. All right, now as you know from the property of the fine, so let me write yellow and red line itself. I'll pause for time. Okay, now for time being, let us call it as the red line, right? The red line and yellow line, they are simply telling you they have the same length as that of B and A. That is all. Okay, so just from the properties of your parallelogram. Okay, right. Now yeah, so to avoid confusion, let us write it simply as B. Okay, if I don't write vector symbol, so assume I'm just talking about the magnitude. Okay, so this is magnitude of B. Okay, and this is magnitude of A. All right, so let us take it that way. Okay, now this is simply A, magnitude of A. All right, fine. Now let us come back to the discussion. Right, now I need R. Okay, I need to find out R. So as you all know, if I find out the length of R, I got the magnitude, right? So that is the basic idea here. Fine. Now coming to the if you see the diagram, so you know these two yellow lines, right? The yellow lines are parallel. So this angle, what do you know about this angle? So this angle will also be theta, the same theta. The reason is you will say corresponding angles, correct? Now let us name the figure. So let us start by naming A, B. Okay, A, B is already there. So let us say P, Q, R, S, T. Okay, P, Q, R, S, T. Right. Now, if you consider, you can give whatever name you feel like. Fine. So if you consider the triangle SQR, right? So triangle SQR, what we are seeing is, Yeah, we are seeing like this. So S, Q, R, right? Now this is B, correct? Now this is your theta, right? Now let us say, now this length is actually B, right? Right. Now let us try to write sine theta here. Okay. Now sine theta, what will I get? So sine theta will be opposite by hypotenuse, that is SR divided by SQ, correct? SR divided by SQ. Now what is SQ? I have considered SQ as B, right? So SR divided by B. Now B you can write it as, or you can write SR, right? So SR will be equal to B sine theta, correct? B sine theta, fine. Now cos theta. Now what can I write for cos theta? So cos theta will be adjacent by hypotenuse, right? So adjacent is QR divided by hypotenuse is SQ, correct? So QR divided by B, fine. Now we got QR as B cos theta. Okay, QR will be B cos theta. Now let us try to highlight this. I need SR and QR in terms of B and the angle in that, what is that blue color angle. So this angle is same as the angle between the vectors A and B. All right, fine. Now let us come back here. So for QR, right, now for QR I'll write it as B cos theta, correct? Same thing we got, right? So QR we got it as B cos theta, correct? Then SR I'll write it as B sin theta, right? So SR I'll write it as B sin theta. Okay, now just focus on this diagram. Okay, fine. Now this angle whatever we have here, okay, this angle is actually 90 degrees, is it not? This angle is 90 degrees because I have extended vector A using the dotted lines here. Okay, so and I have dropped perpendicular from S onto that line. So this angle is 90 degrees. Okay, now consider the right angle triangle PSR. Okay, now consider the right angle triangle PSR, right? Now I suggest you to pause the video and take down the steps neatly. All right, if you want, you use color pens, sketch pens, color pencils, glitter pens, whatever you feel like. All right, fine. So PSR, so what you can do is we'll apply Pythagoras theorem. So what do we get? PS square, right? PS square, applying Pythagoras theorem. Okay, PS square will be equal to PR square. Okay, PR square plus SR square, correct? Now for PR, what can I write? PR can be written as PQ plus QR, is it not? See, PR can be written as PQ plus QR, correct? So PS, technically PS, it is just the length, right? Now with respect to the vector R, what is its length? What is the length means for a vector? It means its magnitude. So I can write R square. Okay, don't worry about the direction, we are still in magnitude. Direction we'll see in the next class. So PR you can write it as PQ plus QR whole square, okay, plus SR square, SR whole square. Yeah, that's all. So PQ, what is PQ? PQ in terms of length, what does it represent actually, right? PQ is it's nothing but some length. Now that length actually represents magnitude of A, correct? So you can write R square is equal to A plus, now what is this QR? QR I have, it is also some length, so it is actually giving you B cos theta, correct? So this will be B cos theta whole square plus, now what is SR? SR is actually sin theta, B sin theta, correct? So SR is basically B sin theta whole square, right? So what did we get? R square is equal to A square. Here I have to apply A plus B whole square. A square plus B square cos square theta plus 2AB cos theta, correct? Plus B square sin square theta, okay? Now if you take common between these two terms, we will get cos square theta plus sin square theta. So again I'll write A square plus B square cos square theta plus sin square theta plus 2AB cos theta, correct? So you know this will go to 1, right? The term in the bracket. So finally we got the resultant, magnitude of the resultant as A square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. Okay, what is the basic idea here? Find out the length, correct? This is r is basically represented by the diagonal green color, whatever I have drawn here. Okay, I'm just trying to find out the length. If you find the length, what are you saying? You're saying the magnitude of the resultant vector, right? That is all we have done. Fine. Okay, so far we have discussed about the resultant. Okay, now in the next class we'll see about the direction. Okay, yeah, please note down the steps neatly. Okay, if you have doubts, please leave a comment. All right, fine.